All right, everyone, let's go through the second part of A Sound of Thunder by Ray Bradbury. So if you haven't watched it yet, I did the first day recorded um, with here with the assignment right there, right above where this link will be. So let's open it up here. We should already have these first four questions answered. We left off yesterday or with the last part right here. And we're going to continue walking through. Let's just refresh our memories. So Sound of Thunder, so far we have met a man by the name of Eccles, and Eccles is a hunter. He likes to hunt big game, which means he likes to go to places like Africa and shoot animals like rhinos, which is despicable, but back in the time that this was written, fairly normal. So we start off with Eccles staring at the sign of the company he's at is Time Safari Incorporated. We take you to a place in the past. You name the animal, we take you there, you shoot it. So Eccles is planning to go back in time and shoot a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And we got to see that he is incredibly nervous as this all begins. And just as we ended yesterday, they got through the time machine. They stepped out into the jungle of 60 million years ago, and they saw this path floating above the ground. And the tour guide is saying, "Do not step off this path." We're going to start off today hearing exactly why. But we don't want to change the future. We don't belong here in the past. Not knowing it, we might kill an important animal, a small bird, a roach, a flower even, thus destroying an important link in a growing species. I don't understand, said Eccles. All right, Travis, their tour guide, continued. Say we accidentally kill one mouse here. That means that the future families of this one mouse are destroyed. With the stomp of your foot, you annihilate first one, then a dozen, then 1,000, and 1,000,000, and 1,000,000,000 possible mice. So they're dead, said Eccles. So what? So what? Travis snorted quietly. Well, what about the foxes that'll need those mice to survive? With 10 less mice, a fox dies. With 10 less foxes, a lion starves. With one less lion, insects, vultures, and billions of other life forms are thrown into chaos and disorder. 59 million years later, a caveman, one of a dozen in the entire world, goes hunting for a wild boar or a saber-toothed tiger. For food. But you, my friend, have stepped on all of the tigers in that region by stepping on a single mouse. So that caveman starves. And the caveman, please note, is not just any expendable man. No, he is the father of an entire nation. Destroy this man and you destroy a race, a people, an entire history of life. With the death of that one caveman, you might never exist at all. So be careful and stay on the path. Never step off. I see, said Eccles. Then it wouldn't pay for us even to touch the grass. Correct. Crushing a plant could add up. The little error here might multiply over 60 million years, all out of proportion. Of course, maybe our history is wrong. Maybe time can't be changed by us. Or maybe it can only be changed in small ways. Who knows? But until we do know for certain, we're being careful. How do we know which animals to shoot? Eccles asks. They're marked with red paint, said Travis. Today, before our journey, I sent my assistant back here with the time machine. He came here and followed certain animals. Studying them? Right, said Lesperance. I track them to find one that's going to die. I note the exact hour, minute, and second. I shoot a paint bomb. It leaves a red patch on their side. We can't miss it. Then I schedule our arrival in the past so that we meet the monster no more than 2 minutes before it was going to die anyway. This way, we kill only the animals that have no future. But if you came back this morning in time, said Eccles eagerly, then you must have bumped into us on our safari. How did it turn out? Were we successful? Did all of us get out alive? Travis and Lesperance gave each other a look. That would be a paradox, said Lesperance. Time doesn't permit that sort of mess, a man meeting himself. There's no way of telling if this expedition was a success, if we got our monster, or whether we get out alive. Cut that, said Travis sharply. Everyone, on his feet. They were ready to leave the machine. Eccles flushed. Where's our Tyrannosaurus? Lesperance checked his wristwatch. Up ahead. We'll meet him in about 60 seconds. Look for the red paint. Don't shoot until I give the word. Stay on the path. Stay on the path. They moved forward in the wind of the morning. Safety catches off, everyone, ordered Travis. You first. You shoot first, Eccles. Second, Billings. Third, Kramer. I've hunted tiger, wild boar, buffalo, elephant, but now this is it, said Eccles. I'm shaking like a kid. Ah, said Travis. Everyone stopped. Travis raised his hand. Ahead, he whispered. In the mist. There he is. There's his royal majesty now. The jungle was wide and full of twitterings, rustlings, murmurs, and sighs. Suddenly it all stopped, as if someone had shut a door. Silence, then a sound of thunder. Out of the mist, 100 yards away, came the Tyrannosaurus Rex. It came on a great, oiled, resilient, striding legs. It towered 30 feet above some of the trees, the great evil god folding its delicate claws close to its oily reptilian chest. Each lower leg was a piston, 1,000 pounds of white bone sunk in thick ropes of muscle, sheathed over in gleams of pebbled skin, like the mail of a terrible warrior. Each thing was a ton of meat. Each thigh was a ton of meat, ivory and steel mesh, and from the great breathing cage of the upper body, those two delicate arms dangled out front, arms with hands which might pick up and examine men like toys, while its snake-like neck coiled. And the head itself, a ton of sculptured stone, lifted easily upon the sky. Its mouth gaped, exposing a fence of teeth like daggers. Its eyes rolled, ostrich eggs, empty of all expression except for hunger. It closed its mouth in a death grin. It ran, crushing aside trees and brushing its taloned feet, clawing the damp earth, leaving prints 6 inches deep where it settled its weight. Why, Eccles twitched his mouth. It could reach up and grab the moon. Shh, Travis jerked angrily. He hasn't seen us yet. It can't be killed, Eccles announced quietly. The rifle in his hand seemed a BB gun. We were fools to come. This is impossible. Shut up, hissed Travis. Turn around, commanded Travis. Walk quietly to the machine. We will send back half of your fee. I didn't realize it was going to be this big, said Eccles. I miscalculated, that's all, and now I want out. It sees us, The tyrant lizard raised itself. Its armored flesh glittered like 1,000 green coins. The coins, crusted with slime, steamed. In the slime, tiny insects wiggled so that the entire body seemed to twitch, even while the monster itself did not move. It exhaled, and the stink of raw flesh blew down the wilderness. Get me out of here, Eccles said. I was always sure I'd come through alive before. This time I figured wrong. I've met my match and I admit it. This is too much for me. Don't run, said Lesperance. Turn around, hide in the machine. Yes, Eccles seemed to be numb. He looked at his feet as if trying to make them move. He gave a grunt of helplessness. He took a few steps, blinking, shuffling. No, not that way. Whew. All right, so that is our section for today. We got to see them stepping out of the um, time machine, and we get to hear, first of all, the reasons why they shouldn't step off the path. Travis explains this idea of a paradox down here, which would be an impossibility, basically, something that shouldn't be possible due to the laws of physics. If you've ever watched movies about time travel or TV shows, you've probably come into this idea of a time paradox. And that's something that I can explain once you have a chance to look through question number 5. So question number 5 can all be answered by looking at this paragraph right above it. It says, explain the cause and effects that would occur if Eccles were to kill a single mouse. So we'll do a few of them together, the first few. It tells us if a mouse dies, then the mouse doesn't have children. Without the mouse's children, the fox dies. Because the fox dies, with 10 less foxes, it says a lion starves. Go ahead and see if you can figure out the rest of these. All right, I'm assuming that you paused the video and found those answers on your own. It tells us if a lion were to starve, then this here. If a lion were to starve, then there would be more food for the insects and for the vultures. And that would basically throw the entire food chain out of whack. And if the entire food chain is sent out of whack, then a caveman could starve. And if that caveman starves, he's not just some insignificant caveman. It says he could be the father of an entire nation. So without that caveman, the whole world is different. And if the entire world is different, then Eccles may never have been born. Now, this is our time paradox. If Eccles was never born, then who came back in time to kill the mouse? Moving forward to the next question here, we can get all the answers from this paragraph, starting with the jungle, all the way down to this paragraph here, starting with the tyrant lizard. This is asking us to find Bradbury's descriptions of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, asking you about what he tells you they look like, sounds like, and smells like. So there are plenty in this paragraph here that tells us what he looks like. There are two things between here and here that tell us what it sounds like, and the smell is down below. So pause the video and see if you can come up with the example of something that we can see, hear, and smell based on the descriptions of this T-Rex. All right, I assume you paused. Here's some answers in case you were having trouble. Like I said, there are a million different things you could do for this, for what it looks like. Some things that stood out to us in class were the legs like pistons, the eyes like eggs, and the oily chest with scales like pebbles. He also describes them, the scales like 1,000 green coins. So that's one thing you can put for the what it looks like. As for the sound, of course, at the very beginning when this T-Rex shows up, at first it makes a big loud noise, and they describe that as a sound of thunder. And then we also hear it running and crashing through the trees. And the smell, of course, is down here in this last paragraph. The Tyrannosaurus Rex opens its mouth, and the stink of raw flesh blows down through the wilderness. So I can show you that there. Make sure you have something similar to these put down. And last but not least, we have our third question of the day. Says, make an inference. What is Eccles going to do wrong? He just got terrified. He's running away, but he's not running back towards the time machine. It doesn't look like. So he's going the wrong way. What do you think Eccles is going to do? Make a prediction. Finish this sentence. I think Eccles is going to blank. And once you've got that, you are good for today. I will see you for the next episode of A Sound of Thunder. We should be able to get through all the way to the end. It doesn't go too much longer. And then there's some questions at the bottom for comprehension. And it looks like I left a blank page. So we're almost done with the story. Adios.